the Belated Binge podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Belated Binge podcast. I'm Zach, your host, rewriting the Harry Potter series one small change at a time. Before we get started, shout out to our free elf patron, Alex Swetlin. If you want to get cool shout outs in all of the episodes, as well as a bunch of other benefits that are available, check out patreon.com/belatedbinge. If you're new to the show, this is where we theorize on what we'd expect to change in the story if we made one small tweak to the plot of the chapter that we're covering. In the last chapter, I asked, what if Harry doesn't find Tom Riddle's diary? Got a few responses on this one. I wanted to highlight JTH Repio. J3PO? I think it's probably J3PO. Sorry if I butchered that. On Instagram, who commented that Ginny would be dead and Voldemort would have come back as a teenager. I feel like it would have worked too. He came back as a full monster in the books, and the Ministry didn't believe he was there at all. They'd probably just hand the Ministry to his young, attractive self. And that is a very interesting point, because it does assume that even though Ginny tried to flush the book down a toilet, that she would still end up getting it back, just in a different way than what actually took place. And then if Tom Riddle came back, he would probably have lots of sway and charisma and all of that he had when he was a teenager. So I really like that one. Thank you for sending that in, as well as to the other comments that I got on like YouTube Shorts from Kristen, as well as Joshua. Thank you all for commenting on this Expecto Plot-Chango question. From my perspective, this might be the hardest one of these questions I've come up with so far in the series. So let's go ahead and break it down. The point of Harry finding the diary was basically twofold, right? One, to establish Tom Riddle as a character and build recognition for Harry so that when they finally meet in the chamber, he knows who this memory person is. And two, so that Harry could learn why Hagrid was expelled from Hogwarts, and sort of the story offering up Hagrid as a red herring for the remainder of the book. So whatever I come up with now has to accomplish those same two things in order for our plot to get where it needs to go. We're also meant to believe that only the trio go to this bathroom because of Moaning Myrtle. The rest of the school avoids it completely, like the plague. That's why they were able to safely brew the Polyjuice potion for like a month without ever getting caught. Just 3 12-year-olds brewing a stinky potion in the bathroom. Nobody notices. But whatever. So with all that information, you could kind of pretty easily get to maybe Hermione would be the only other person that might be able to find it. But I don't know why she would go. Maybe she'd just be checking in on Myrtle to be nice. I don't know. Why would she go there alone? If Ron and Harry had somehow missed the diary in this flooding scene, or just not gone to the bathroom during the flooding scene in the first place, I don't know. It doesn't really align, and it's not really that fun. And it's also leaving out one piece of information from the chapter that I think actually lays this thing out, the foundation for this out, kind of perfectly. Remember, Ron and Harry weren't on their way to Myrtle's bathroom originally. When they left from visiting Hermione in the hospital wing, they were headed back to the Gryffindor Tower, I believe. But something caught their attention, and it sent them in that direction. Who remembers what it was? Anyone? It was Filtch. And he was super pissed about the flooding and exclaimed that he was going to Dumbledore to complain. I think he probably thought it was Peeves that caused it. I don't actually remember that part, to be honest. But presumably, he would have gone back and likely did go back to clean up the mess from the flooding. And I think he would have seen the diary and picked it up. From there, it would have just been another gem that he kept in his office with all the other stuff that he confiscated from students, like the Marauders Map type thing. So then, if Filch has it in his office, how would Harry get a hold of it? And with that, it takes another trip to Filch's office, doesn't it? Maybe, here's what I'll try to do. So I'll try to plan on posting a poll on social media for what Harry could have done to deserve to head to Filch's office. So let's make those options. 1, Harry and Ron get caught sneaking snacks. 2, Harry and Ron get caught on a midnight stroll in the invisibility cloak, following a lead on the heir of Slytherin. Or 3, Harry gets caught retaliating in the corridor after Draco takes some kind of cheap shot at him. What do you think? Pick one. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, because it all ends up the same. Filch caught him, takes him to his office. And this time, the diary is just laying on a shelf. And this weird familiarity, this Horcrux connection, the sheer annoyance at Filch, all combine to compel our hero of the story to swipe the diary on his way out of the office. And then things play out from there. What do you think? That officially wraps up our chat from the last chapter. So now, let's set the stage for the next one, kicking things off with this week's Expecto Plot-Chango question from Chapter 14, The Chamber of Secrets is, what if Harry and Ron don't let Hermione run off to the library by herself when Harry hears the voice of the monster? How could that have changed things for the chapter? How could that have changed things for the future? Let me know your thoughts to be included in the next episode of the podcast. You can let me know on the website, belatedbinge.com, by leaving a voicemail. I will also pose this question across social media. I'll put it on Instagram as a reel. I will put it on TikTok. I will put it on YouTube Shorts. I will also pose the question on Twitter. You can respond on any of those at Belated Binge. In the next episode, we will deep dive Chapter 14 from Chamber of Secrets right here on the Belated Binge podcast.